You have found yourself on another episode of Locked on Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Patrick Beverly's flat out tripping. We'll talk about that. Give a season grade for Andre Drummond. And Kenny Smith, it's apparently the episode of the tripping point guards. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked on Bulls.
You are Locked on Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked on Bulls, member of the Locked on Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Pat, man, listen, we got another one. Patrick Beverly says that the Bulls would have been a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference if he was with the team for the full season. Now, irrational confidence be damned. I still love Pat Bev, but Lord knows that man be tripping. Go ahead, Pat.
4 is, if he didn't slate it as 4, I almost could rock with it. Because here's the thing, I could see 5 or 6.
That's what I said too.
I could see 5 or 6, but 4 is such a who was 4 though? Who was 4? Cleveland?
That sounds about right. All he had to say was the Bulls would have avoided the play-in if I was there the whole season. That's it. I don't think many people would have argued with that. But to say top 4, my brother, top 4, I mean, listen.
Man, it's tough too because it's like
that means we would have needed to have at least 50 wins.
Well, here's the question though, right? Like, is Donovan Mitchell because Cleveland is 4, right?
Cleveland's 4 with 51 wins this season.
Yeah, I don't think the Bulls improved that much. That's 11 wins. He thinks he's an 11 war. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't have you there. I'll give you what was the record for 5?
47. That's what I said. I could see that. 47 for 5, 40,
I can
45
see you
for
competing.
6.
I can see you competing for 5. I can absolutely see you at 6 for sure. I think that is more rational. And listen, I love the confidence. The tougher part, I think, is that what we saw that led to wins probably would have helped us earlier in the season because there was an actual pecking order established. Remember, we spent the first half of the season talking about, okay, they keep playing the your turn, my turn offense. You would think that if Pat Bev's there the entire season, the your turn, my turn offense isn't happening, which means that Pat Bev has already made the decision that Zach LaVine is going to shoot the basketball from the time he shows up, and that DeMar DeRozan's going to be the number 2 on the team. I don't think that helps Vooch get more involved with his passing game because you didn't have guys that were going to knock down the shots. Realistically, Patrick Williams' development in how much better his three-point shot happening in the second half of the season happens or makes Vooch's life a lot easier. I don't think that changes much, but I guess it does change, right? Like it does set a pecking order. And at a minimum, that might get you 7 to 8 more games. I still don't know if that gets you 51. But I guess here's the thing though. Are we saying that he's not that far off?
11 wins is far, bro. Like that.
But we're saying he could get 7.
No, you're saying he could get 7. That's not what I said.
You said we could be 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5. That's 5 wins, bro. We were a 40-win team. We need 45 wins to get that.
To get the 6. 7. Yeah. To get the 5, it was a 47, right?
Yeah, 47 to get to 5. I think we avoid the play-in and get into 6. I think getting to 5 is a possibility. I think you would have to have. I think for that, Zach LaVine would have had been also healthy to start the season. I also think that DeMar DeRozan, wouldn't have had to get hurt in the middle of that to happen. Yeah. I think some things got to fall right for you. But to me, also, a whole season of Alex Caruso at the 4. I don't know if I don't know about that.
Yeah. But again, right? Realistically, if he's here at the start of the season, you're starting with Pat Will in the starting lineup still.
True.
Right? Like, we didn't go to Caruso at the 4 until it was just like, this ain't working.
Well, we went to Caruso at the 4 to almost coincide. It coincided with Patrick Beverly coming.
with signing Pat Bev, but remember, P. Will and Io end up getting benched earlier in the season, and they started. I don't know. I think Caruso was starting
for one game, and then Javante got hurt, and then they put
Javante got hurt. Yeah. But then who started at point? Caruso started at point, I believe.
Yeah, it was Cruz
for a while, and then who was at the 4? DJJ? Was DJJ in the starting lineup?
No, it
was
maybe? Just Javante, and then it was only one game, and then he got put right back in the starting lineup, and then he didn't go out again until Caruso came in at the 4.
I mean, I can't say. I'll say this. It would have been, I do agree with him in the sense that it would have been better. It would have been a lot better, right? 7 wins is a lot of wins. To me, I think that you can get to the 5th seed, or at least be competing for the 5th seed, which is 6 or 7 wins. That's a lot of wins in the NBA. You're talking about probably not losing, Donovan Mitchell probably doesn't score 70 on you, although that was ref manufactured.
The refs would have still been
the refs would have. Oh, Pat Bev would have been ejected from that game very early. There's some games there where we look at it, right? Like you probably don't end up losing to. Didn't we lose to Charlotte? We probably don't end up losing to Houston. Maybe some of those games, right? You feel a little bit better about, but. Top 4, and here's the thing: he's not saying that like they were just going to be 4. He just said top 4. So he might mean they might be 3, they might be 2, they might be the best team in the Eastern Conference with Patrick Beverly. Like he said, top 4. He never said we were going to be 4.
That is God. Listen,
didn't think about it like that, did you?
I didn't, but shout out to Pat Bev, man. Just shout out to Pat Bev. Keep being you, brother. Now, with that said, since we're on the topic of Pat Bev. And, while I do think a lot of this is posturing, setting up for negotiations to happen with other teams, but if Pat Bev doesn't get that $13 to $15 million he wants in the open market, do you think the Bulls still look at retaining him and bringing him back? Or do you think at this point, probably by the time that comes, have they already made their point guard decision then for that season?
I if you can get Pat Bev for between 8 to 10 million, maybe.
See, even then, I'm not with the way that he didn't show up in the play-in. I'm not giving Pat Bev. Like to me, and I'm not saying I should. I probably am out on the outskirts with this, and that's fine. But for me, Pat Bev, bro, I got what we give Goran last year. What was it, 3? I got 5 to 7 for you. You get started talking about double digits. We can stop the negotiations.
Well, I hope to stay at the 8 range, but I mean, like, I think here's the thing. To me, you know the things that you realistically need to add, and you just need somebody that can play the position to get you through the Lonzo period. Because we know, right, here's the one thing we know about the Reinsdorfs. They're not going to screw over Lonzo. They're not. They're going to allow him to be here and rehab and make his money, and they're not going to use any exemptions on him. They're not going to it's a fun thing to think about us doing big business, but the Reinsdorfs are going to stand behind the fact that they signed this guy. They're going to pay him his money. They're going to let him go through his rehab and hope that he comes back for the last 20 games of his contract and is able to give you anything.
The last 20. I love how you said it was the last 20 games. Well, the disabled player exception keeps him here, so he can still but that would send them into the luxury tax. I think it's the luxury tax. To me,
that's what I'm saying. Like they gonna go into the luxury tax all of a sudden for Lonzo Ball's knee and to keep Patrick Beverly. I don't see it.
No, to keep Pat Bev. No, if they do that, it gotta be. I settle on something bigger than Pat Bev. But man, I don't even want to get to talking about that, bro. Like I don't know if you saw the tweet. I can't remember the hockey player that he had the same injury as Lonzo. And actually,
yeah, I did see that. And the doctor was the same, right?
Well, the doctor was the Bulls doctor, but luckily Lonzo had a different doctor do his surgery. So
wait, it was Jeff Tanaka the whole time?
Yeah, no, what was Brian Cole? I think is his name.
I was gonna say, no wonder he didn't make it back, bro. Yeah. Can't put yourself in those kinds of positions.
Hey, bro, I was trying to see if you went to go get ankle surgery or something. Let's say something happened to you while you were walking the dog, something. And Jeff Tanaka is the one who walks in the room to get your surgery.
I'm leaving. There's no way I'm sticking around, bro. There's absolutely no way. I'm not putting myself in that kind
phone
of
call that I would get from you as you're on your way up from the hospital. I'd be like, hey, bro, what you calling me for? I thought you were supposed to be in surgery. Yeah, hey, man, bro, Tanaka pulled into the room.
Tanaka,
man, I got
bro.
out of there.
He pulled up in the doggone hospital shoes, sliding his feet into the surgery, bro. I limped out of there. I left my foot.
All right, y'all. We're going to get into the next
I was
topic.
trying to find the tweet. All I see is roasting pictures. I can't even go through your Twitter. It's just pictures of you roasting people.
We will. I don't even know what you're talking about. We will in next.
I know this is about me because I see Al B. Sure in this one. What you son of a.
Andre Drummond season's grade is what we'll get into next. Thank you to the everydayers, man. Locked on Bulls is free and available every day on YouTube as well as the Odyssey app. But with that said, we got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items and exclusions do apply. All right. Hey, do you think we can get knees from eBay Motors? Do you think they have some good motorized knees?
Hey, man, if I could just get 2 knees. Who you give? That's the real question, though. You giving them to Lonzo or you giving them to Derek?
I mean, at this point, it's more the knees with Derek because he's an older player. Like, if you give me the eBay Motors motorized knee and a time machine, hey, bro, I'm changing all the Bulls history, bro. We will be on this podcast talking about the Bulls being in their eighth finals, Eastern Conference Finals in the last 10 years. That's what we'll be talking about.
Yeah, we ain't get nowhere near that many with Derek, but hopefully we would have turned the corner right there. Hey, but we could have. I don't even care. You ain't even got to go all the way back to Derek. Just make sure that GarPax isn't around. I had to make sure I said that the right way, so that we could build a team around Jimmy Butler.
That too, yeah. That's AI could have built a better team. We could have used ChatGPT to give GarPax the deals they should have made.
Hey, I bet you that. Hey, nah. So I have a theory on this. I think that Ryan Poles and them be using AI to figure out how the draft is supposed to fall because he always talk about how freaky it is, how perfectly close they predict this draft every time. I think they use an AI out here. Shout out to Ryan Poles.
Wouldn't be surprised in that at all. But let's get into our season grade for Andre Drummond. Coming in, playing pretty solidly for the Bulls at different times of the season. One of the biggest things with Andre Drummond is just the inconsistency around his role, which is a little bit more head scratching than like the inconsistency around Derrick Jones Jr., who we reviewed, gave a grade to last episode, only because Drummond came in and theoretically was your only other big man other than Nikola Vucevic, but for some reason, he couldn't see the floor for long stretches and periods of times last season. Pat, how you feeling about Andre Drummond's season?
Here's the thing. I want to give him a better grade. I'll give him a C+, right?
Okay.
I'll give him a C+ for this reason. I want to give him a better grade because when he's on the court and he's doing the rebounding, he's playing the defense, and he's moving his feet, he looks like the Andre Drummond that was in Detroit that at times was an unstoppable player.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you put him out there for a second game to try and attempt to do that, he will Euro step from the three-point line and throw a basketball straight up into the air that will end up in the hands of the other team while getting 4 fouls simultaneously and have to be sat on the bench immediately, and the other team is in the free throws or in the bonus the rest of the game. Like, I get the moments that we didn't play him, that we could have used him, and I would have wanted to see him in there. Mm-hmm. But I also get why Billy Donovan couldn't trust him game in and game out, because there's times where this guy's in foul trouble in the first quarter, and now the team on the other side is getting free throws with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter, and you're sitting there and you're just like, yo, they're in the bonus the rest of the way through, and now we're down 20 because they've been to the free throw line 10 times. Like, so I love what Drummond can be, but I think that he puts himself in bad positions too often for Billy to have 100% trust, but that doesn't mean that Billy should have 0% trust.
I agree with that. That's a very fair and well thought out assessment. Andre Drummond playing only 67 games for the Bulls, and if I'm not mistaken, he never had a major injury. Now he did go out the time for mental health, but Drummond never had like any injury, anything that. So to play only 67 games and basically be fully healthy for the season, tons of questions there. He averaged only 12 minutes a game for the Chicago Bulls, and in those 12 minutes a game, he averaged 6 points per game in that, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.7 personal fouls. In 12 minutes, that may not sound a lot. That's quite a bit of fouls in 12 minutes.
That's a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I can't even sit here and say like it was him trying to defend the rim and the refs were again. Like, no, it was just dumb stuff.
Yeah.
He fouls like Cat sometimes. Like, you know how we just sat there and looked at Cat the entire playoffs, just like, hey, bro, do you know you got 4 fouls right now? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Cat
why?
also, sometimes that we look at him and be like, do you know you're actively in the NBA game right now? You do realize that you are indeed playing NBA basketball right now. Right?
I don't know, man. Like Cat played a game real zesty out here, bro. But I just feel like when I look at
zesty?
hey, bro, that's how he played the game, bro. Like it just be like he's such a finesse player with it. You know what I'm saying? Like he want to put that every play got to have that je ne sais quoi on it. It'd be like, boy, if you don't just put the ball in the rim, you're 7 feet tall. Finish the ball at the rim. But that's a whole different dude. But I feel like Andre Drummond is like that at times, right? Like when I look at what he's doing on the defensive end, it's like sometimes it's like, yes, that's exactly what we need. And then the next play, it's just like, hey, bro, like why did you grab him around the neck on a layup that he made? Like you wasn't even tough enough for him to not make the layup. So now he got the and one and the bucket. And we in the bonus. You know what I mean? So
if you're gonna get the foul, actually foul him. Right?
If you're gonna get the foul, put him on his butt. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't. Here's the wild part. I want Drummond to opt in. I want Drummond to come back to the Bulls. I think that he's a nice asset off your bench, but there's a lot of mental errors there that do limit how much you can play him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and hopefully, and the thing that makes it so frustrating with Drummond. And by the way, I haven't given it. I got a C+ for Drum. But the thing that makes it so frustrating is that Drum will have the 2 games in a row that he plays perfect. I mean, he comes in off the bench. Somehow he gets 4 putbacks in like 8 minutes. And we looking at him with 8 points, 8 rebounds, and he's played 8 minutes. And it's like, hey, this is exactly what we need. We'll get that for a couple of games. Then, like you said, then he all of a sudden he wants to Euro step. He wants to take it from the 3-point line and try to do a double crossover Haize between the legs. It's like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing
and
here,
here's the
man?
thing. Drummond's game is like golf, right? So I don't know how much you play golf, but like you will have 17 and a half bad holes. And I swear, by the time you get to like that 18, I say 17 and a half because at some point you're going to hit a ball and you're going to be like, I'm not going to get that. I'm going to hit it again. But you'll get the whole 18 and you'll hit that mug clean and it'll sail perfectly and you'll see it take off like an airplane. You'll just watch that mug and it'll be the thing that keeps you coming back to play golf, that keeps you taking that same swing. Every 18 shots, Drummond makes that stupid Euro. And it's why we keep seeing it, bro.
It was one game where literally I had that whole no. Oh, you made it. Okay.
Hey,
well,
bro, yes, we talked about it here, bro. Like I'm telling you, like he had one, bro. I swear he sauced my man so bad. He did like a behind the back dribble, caught it in the left, Euro to the right, and laid it. And I was like, okay, Drum. The next game tried the same thing, turned the ball over out the left side and hit off Zach LaVine. He fell over. Like it was like it causing chaos, bro. It was a baby in the crowd crying, cats chasing dogs, pandemonium in the streets.
That's crazy. It's wild. But hey, that's Drum, man. I hope Drum opts in as well. Because we need him, and I hope that he can play better to where he can be on the court a little bit more. And I hope that Billy Donovan trusts him. And there's sometimes as well, like, Drum may get into some foul trouble, but sometimes I think also you need to let a player work through that, especially when it's a veteran like Drum. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah. No, I'm. He's good enough that I want to see him be a role player on this team.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I don't want to see him be our starting big. I've heard that floated around as well. Like Mud's just like, well, if Vooch walk, we still got Drummond. It's like, it's not 2005, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like y'all would see real quickly if Drummond was our starting point guard for a whole season. I guarantee you those same people would be like, oh, we got to get Drummond up out of here. But you were just saying that we would. Gotta love Bulls fans. Gotta love Bulls fans. Another person that you gotta love is Kenny Smith. Now, Kenny the Jet Smith. I love him as a media personality. As a player, I was never too high, too down on Kenny Smith. But he came out recently and said that the Rockets, his Rockets, would have beat the 94-95 Chicago Bulls. And I mean, you were talking about this a little bit off air.
He actually said they'd have beat both of them.
He would have beat both. Well,
he said they'd have beat 93-93, and this is if Jordan never left.
Let's see. Go ahead, give your thoughts and feelings on it, Pat.
So basically, this is how I feel about the whole situation, right? He has a point based on what the team is constructed as. I like the point you brought up. But based on the teams that were there, if you simply just drop Michael Jordan back onto those teams, I don't think that the Bulls would have had an answer for the dream. Case in point, we lost to the Magic in 6.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost to the Magic in 6 110% because we were too small inside. Now, it didn't stop Michael Jordan from being amazing. But we lost to the Magic in 6, and literally there was no interior presence. Shaq was able to do whatever he wanted to. Penny was such a big guard that, I mean, he lived in the paint pretty much, right? And so I think that's when you look at that, and then I say, oh yeah, but Hakeem was so much better than them. I get his point, and I kind of lean towards that, but I like the point that you brought out.
You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead. I tried to set you up perfectly. You didn't.
Hey, listen, you know when you get on the road talking, sometimes you just don't stop. So I was just like, hey, I don't know if he's gonna go, or do I get this deal? I
gotta be ready, man. You gotta be ready.
No, I got you, brother. But
oh, now it's on me.
Yeah, I just like, come on now, bro. Come on, I gotta be light skinned. I can't take accountability. What's that looking like? What's that looking like? Oh.
Who's Ice Spice now? Yeah.
You been waiting a year to get that back off on me, brother? That's funny. Yeah. But the point that I had brought up to that is that I think that those two teams, specifically the 93-94 and the 94-95 Chicago Bulls, they weren't built for a championship. They didn't think they were going to have Michael. So, yeah, of course, if you just drop Michael on those teams, that they had flaws. And I think that the Jerry Krause at that point knew, like, hey, we're not finna win a title. I'm not about to, like, go all out as if Mike was still here. Even when Mike came back in 94-95, he played 17 games. So I think that, Krause didn't build those teams necessarily to be championship contenders. He built them to be some damn good teams and to see what he had in Pippen. But like I told you, I have a conspiracy theory that they were trying to undervalue Pippen specifically because they knew that they wanted to fleece him in contract negotiations. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Jerry Krause wanted to move Scottie Pippen, right?
That was when Jordan was there. He wanted to trade him in the second iteration for Tracy McGrady.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Which, hey, I mean, it worked out. We won 2 more, but
yeah. But so I just don't think that the Bulls were building those two teams specifically to be championship level teams. I think if you have Mike at the start of either one of those seasons and in the offseason, I think that we see a different variation on the teams that season. But as constructed, you drop Jordan on, yeah, I can see. I don't know if I can see beating the Bulls both years because I never want to count out the Bulls and Mike back-to-back years like that. I think if they would have lost, for example, in 93-94, that just the pettiness of Michael Jordan, he would have come out in a different way in the next season.
Here's my only argument against what Kenny's saying in 93-94. That team is without one awful call is back in the NBA Finals.
That is true. That's a great point.
So, like, I don't know if I can say that they weren't built to go to the finals to be a championship team. Like, that team was still a 60-win team almost? What was that team that year? 55, 60-win team, something like that? That's a lot of wins separating them. Like, I think like a 55-win team, something like that. But that team was
55 and 27.
55 and 27. That team was one call away from going to the NBA Finals. And so, to me, right, like, I think that first year he might have had a tougher time with that team because that team did a good job against Patrick Ewing. I mean, Pat Ewing was still cooking, but like they did a good job against him.
That was actually that, and that wasn't the Eastern Conference Finals. That was actually I thought it was the Eastern Conference Finals as well. They lost to the semifinals in that.
Was that the semifinals?
Yeah. They lost in the second round in New York. New York went on to beat Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals to go on to the title.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Because everybody just believed. I thought that was the ECF. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals to the New York Knicks. Huh. More you know.
That's crazy.
Well, that kills that point, actually. Then, well, actually, I think they'd beat Indiana. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe every Bulls fan ever has they
would have absolutely
ingrained in my head this long foregone conclusion that we'd have just beat Indiana.
Yeah.
But I mean, even so, right? Like you're one call away from getting back to the ECF. I could see you add Michael Jordan to that team. One, you win the Knicks series.
Mm-hmm.
You destroy Indiana. I think 93-94 might have been tough for them to win. 94-95, I'll give y'all the leeway on that, though. I think that Horace probably would have got us that year, even with Mike. And this is the part I don't like from Kenny. He's like, I'm glad we didn't because it would have hurt Mike's legacy. No, it wouldn't have. Muggs would have changed the narrative just like we are. Listen, we have to stop. I was telling Haize this. I was like, we got to stop acting like Mike didn't lose to Orlando. Like we act like Mike just had this perfect 6-0. Like I love Mike, but he did lose to Orlando. He only played 17 games. He scored 55 points in one of those 17 games. He had a game where he had 37 and 11. He was fine. So they got to stop acting like, it must be like, but he only had 17 games. He wasn't ready. He was destroying people.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here, bro? His first game, he had 19. The second game, he had 27.
Hey, Mike came in and he was just like, hey, listen, I got something for y'all real quick. Don't even worry about it. Y'all. Did y'all miss me? I know y'all did.
Bro, and this is my favorite part about like when people do the LeBron versus Mike thing. Mike fans don't realize that they were doing the LeBron thing first, and now LeBron fans are doing the LeBron thing. Just like Kobe fans at one point did the Kobe thing towards Mike to say that Kobe was better than Mike, and LeBron, like it's the same thing. Y'all just old now.
That's hilarious. But accurate again. I mean, those, and when you get into those woulda, coulda, shouldas, like I said, it's so how many things are different around the league because Michael Jordan being on an NBA team not just changes what the Bulls would have done, that changes the moves that the league would have made. So you can talk if you talk in a vacuum of just, hey, yeah, you just drop them in on these two teams. We beat those two teams. Okay, cool, but like let's not act like Mike doesn't carry gravity and magnitude with him.
I don't think it changes what Houston does though. Because Houston added Clyde.
This is true. I mean,
it's a tougher team than you think when you think about it.
I mean, no, and that's the thing. I don't take anything away from Houston. Was a great team. I just mean the Eastern Conference, I think, shapes up a little bit differently there in general because I do think that the Bulls would have gone after some different free agents or moves to make sure they have a team around Mike. And I just think that even the path through the Eastern Conference, it doesn't change the Magic either because they're gonna have Shaq and Penny regardless. But I do think it changes some things. So
yeah, I think they beat the Magic with. Well, no, I just said no. Yeah, I guess not. I think they beat New York. So the year before, and then I think they mollywopped Indiana. Indiana couldn't do nothing with Mike. But yeah, that's Kenny. Here's the tough part. I stuff like that when it's in the same era, I don't mind debating as much because it's like I can kind of see how that would have broken down.
Yeah.
Like I can see why Kenny thinks that way.
That's
but also Mike.
That's what it all boils down to. Mike. Just all you gotta say. Mike.
Hey man. We appreciate y'all for showing love at the end of this pod, Mike. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls, Mike. And follow me on everything at Pat the Designer, Mike.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Every day is tomorrow, not tomorrow. On Monday, we'll be back talking more about what's surrounding the Bulls and preparing for the draft lottery. Everybody get your lucky totems out, whatever it is. We need as much luck as possible aimed towards the Bulls' way as we get ready to go into the draft lottery on next Tuesday. But thank you. That's it for us. For Pat the Designer, I've been Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls. We out this mug. Peace, y'all.
Peace. You've been Haize?
I've been Haize.
Were you somebody else before?
Yeah. It's Cordero before.
Oh, God.